Henry, welcome to the cave. Thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a great day. We can talk about your latest project, Sam and Kate, which is now available in select theaters, and I believe it's on video on demand as well, right?
I think so. I'm not quite sure on it, but I'm excited that it's out in theaters.
Right.
It really warms my heart because a lot of these people I've known for a long time, and so having a chance to collaborate with them on something and then having it in theaters, it's really rewarding.
Right. I had the opportunity to watch it last night. I love how it's like, it's got its little humor, it's got its drama, it's got some scenes where it just feels like you're getting sucker punched right in the stomach. Like what are you hoping for when the viewers go watch this film at the theaters or on VOD? What do you hope they get out of this?
Well, I think it's great. This kind of film, like we used to see this kind of film a lot in the 70s and 80s, even the 90s. And then these kind of small, heartfelt films sort of disappeared for a while, or
Mm,
at least they were harder to find, right? So uh, I think I think that you know audiences hopefully don't have to see somebody in tights who goes to the gym all the time to be entertained.
right.
Uh, 7 days out of the week, maybe a couple of days out of the week, they can see a film like this.
Right. Um, so you play Ron, Sam's best friend. First of all, like, how were you approached for this project? You said you mentioned you've known him, you've worked with him before. Was this something like, hey, we have a part for you, I want you to come in?
Yeah, it's funny because about 8 years ago, uh, Orion Williams, who's a producer on Sam and Kate, he's a dear friend of mine, and I've known him for a long time. Uh, anyway, he approached me with Darren Legallo, who wrote this script that I read, and 8 years ago they were like, "Hey," Darren said, "Hey, we're both from the same hometown, and I want you to be in this movie." And I said, "Great, yeah, I'd love to do it." And it had several incarnations that fell through. And when Dustin Hoffman and Sissy Spacek came on board, it was a complete game changer.
Yeah.
And so, uh, you know, it came back, and I was like, "Wow, great! I'll play anybody you want." And we had Ron from Texas.
Mm. How was it connected with Ron? Because like how do you prepare to play him? Like you see him like he's very mellow, he's relaxed in some of the scenes he's in. He's funny, he's got the one-liners.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I kind of see Ron as he's a foil for Sam. He's kind of he's what's waiting for Sam, like that kind of a life to some degree. If Sam continues to like fail to launch
Mm,
uh, as Ron has, he's gonna stay right where he is for however long it takes. But I think also I mentioned Darren Legallo and I come from the same hometown. This character was very familiar to me because um, guys like that exist, in South Texas.
mm,
And, you don't quite know like what they do or how they survive, but they're always around. And to me, Ron is kind of one of those guys that just kind of he's all right being the king of the hill, and whichever hill he's deigned is his hill,
yeah,
and everybody else, they're up to their own devices.
right. Like throughout the film, we see you interact a lot with Jake Hoffman's character Sam, and you're there for like you pretty much give him advice throughout the movie.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of a sounding board for him. Not a very good one at most of the time, but every once in a while I drop a little pearl of wisdom. So,
Yeah.
but I think the important thing is that, like Sam and Kate, it's about those relationships, right? It's
Mm,
about those friendships with people. Like you gotta you gotta value people for more than just their worth on paper or in the office or whatever it is. We're all interesting.
mm. Jake Hoffman now, like how do you describe like that chemistry between you two?
Well, Jake is a fun guy, and uh, we had a lot of fun working together. And he was very enthusiastic about giving it his all, and
Yeah.
he was always trying to find more interesting things to do, like off the page and within the page as well. So, it was a lot of fun working with him, and it was great having a chance to work with Sissy Spacek again,
Yeah.
because uh, a lot of people think that E.T. was my first film, but it was actually a film called Raggedy Man, which was shot in 1980, 81. And that was starring Sissy Spacek, and it was shot by her husband and Schuyler's dad, Jack Fisk. Um, so that was my introduction to acting and working in film. So it really felt like I was kind of coming home and coming full circle, at least in my career personally. And it was nice to work with Sissy and Schuyler,
Right.
and of course working with, I mean, I didn't have any scenes with Dustin, but I got to meet him, and he and Jake are just really lovely people.
I don't know if we can allow to talk about a little bit about spoilers, but how heartbreaking was that scene when he finds Dustin Hoffman's character like passed away on the recliner?
Yeah, yeah, it's really it was sad. It was sad reading it,
Yeah.
and the script. I mean, the script was very special. I remember when I first saw it 8 years ago, I said,
Yeah.
"This is a great story." It's and and that's what I look at usually. I look for story, and
Mm.
you kind of, as an actor, that's what you do. You serve the story in some way, and uh, you learn to recognize strong ones and weak ones. And this was one of those scripts that I read, and I said, that's going to be special if it doesn't get completely mauled in the
Mm.
process.
There's a scene that we see that you're in the coffee shop and you're getting ready. You play the guitar, you sing. You see your character seems very happy, but you kind of seem very happy in that too.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ron is living his dream life,
Right.
right? He's like, he can play the guitar to an audience, and he's making money at the same time. He's not being replaced by a robot.
Right.
Win-win.
Now you're a big guitar guy, right?
Yeah, so it's funny because it was kind of scripted, like Ron strums the guitar, but on the day, Darren was like, well, we want you to play a song. They said this like the night before, it'd be great if you played a song up there on the stage in the scene tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I got to set, and I realized like the whole scene, the shot kind of revolved around tracking me to the stage and doing this
Mm.
thing. And I thought, oh man, I haven't played out live in years, and playing on camera is really weird anyway. But it was great for Ron because he doesn't have to be especially good.
Mm. So when you played the guitar, like how long did you practice the night before?
Most of like between rap and dinner, and till my
Yeah.
fingers were tired. Like Bryan Adams,
There you
till
go.
my fingers bled.
So Sam and Kate's available, like I said, selected theaters and VOD. Now, what's next for you? Any other projects you're allowed to tell us about?
So I've got a couple of things on Netflix now, and I've been working a lot with the director Mike Flanagan and his new show, The Midnight Club. I'm in one episode of, but also I'm in The Fall of the House of Usher, which is going to be on Netflix in next year sometime. I'm not sure when the drop date is. Other than that, I've published a book in 2019 called The Window in the Mirror, and it's the first in a series of fantasy books that I'm writing, and it's being printed into paperback in the next few months. So there's that, and I've got an album with my band Far Speaker that I'm threatening to release. I've been threatening to release it for a year now, but I'm actually going to make good on the threat, I think, in 23.
There you go. Henry, I want to thank you for giving a few minutes today. This is great. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. And thanks for helping promote Sam and Kate. I think it's a great little movie.
It definitely is.